Hi guys! So this is our second lecture for ES12 or Civil Engineering Orientation. So first off, we have construction as our topic. Now, for this lesson, we're gonna briefly discuss about the construction industry. Alright? Ano-ano ba yung mga it's like an overview. Kasi magkakaroon pa rin naman kayo ng actual construction and management subject as you go along sa college. So, yeah, let's start. So, construction is the realization phase of the civil engineering process following conception and design. It is the role it is the role of the constructor to turn the ideas of the planner and the detailed plans of the designer into physical reality. So, kasi diba we all know that another field of civil engineering is structural. So, yeah, kung buildings ang gagawin mo, then dun ka sa structural na field. Kung dun more on sa construction ka, then dun ka sa construction na field. Alright, the owner is the ultimate consumer of the project and is often the general public for civil engineering projects. Not only does the constructor have an obligation to the actual owner or client, but also an ethical obligation to the general public to perform the work so that the final product will serve its function economically and safely. Kasi, yung trabaho natin as engineers, hindi naman yan natatapos kapag na hand over mo na yung building or yung structure sa client mo. Meron pa yung maintenance phase na for a few years. Alright? At saka, we're here not just to, to make money, but we're here to serve the public. No? So, ganun naman talaga lahat ng negosyo. Yung main heart of the business is to serve. No? Secondary na lang yung monetary equivalent ng service. Alright, so we have 5 specialty areas in the construction industry. Number 1 is residential. I know that you're all familiar with this one. So, ayan. Alam ko may mga sariling project dreams na kayo tungkol sa inyong gagawing bahay in the future. Alright. Number 2 is building. So, yeah, yung mga nakikita natin na, malaki or hindi masyadong malaking structure, pero hindi siya classified as houses, then, yeah, building. Number 3 is yung heavy or highway construction. So, this thing includes dams, bridges, ports, sewage treatment plants, highways. So, sobrang lalaking projects na nito. Okay, it covers a vast area na talaga. Right? Number 4 is utility, examples of which are sanitary and storm drainage, water lines, electrical and phone lines, pumping stations. So, okay din to kung work as sanitary engineer. Now, alright, number 5 is industrial. Alright, so that includes refineries, mills, power plants, chemical plants, heavy manufacturing facilities. So, malalaki din. Okay, so yung maliliit na construction lang dito ay 1 or 2. Yung 2 pwede ring maliit yan eh. Okay, so there. Participants in the construction process. First, we have the owner, of course. So, pwede ang private or public, depende na lang. So, it is the party that initiates the demand for the project and ultimately pays for its completion. The owner's role in the process varies considerably. However, the primary role of the owner is to effectively communicate the scope of work desired to the other parties. Siyempre, kung ikaw yung owner, sasabihin mo kung ano yung gusto mong mangyari. Alright? So, i-guide mo yung engineer or yung, let's say, yung contractor na this is what I want. Tapos kapag medyo nagde-deviate, then you talk to them about it. No, if you're the owner, of course. Kasi, syempre, ang gusto mong maging end result, yung gusto mong project. Alright, number 2 is the designer. So, he or she is the one responsible for developing adequate working drawings and specifications in accordance with current design practices and codes to communicate the product desired by the owner upon completion of the project. So, let's say sa isang construction firm, meron tayong design department, meron tayong mga naka-assign sa site. So, if you're a design engineer, you're a structural design engineer, then ikaw yung magpaproduce ng lahat ng drawings for the site people. Okay, so yung nasa site, sila lang yung mag-i-implement. Now, you as the designer, ikaw yung kausap ni client. Okay? Ikaw yung, kumbaga, laging nagko-communicate sa kanya. Kasi before makarating yung plano dun sa site, sa'yo muna syempre. And yung ilalagay mo sa plano is, well, ideas would come from the client or from the owner. Number 3, we have prime contractor. So, the prime contractor is responsible for managing the resources needed to carry out the construction process in a manner that ensures the project will be conducted safely, within the budget, and on schedule, and that it meets or exceeds the quality requirements of the plans and specifications. Ayan. Prime contractor. So, kumbaga ikaw yung prime. Ikaw yung big contractor dyan. Kasi meron tayong tinatawag na subcontractors. Alright, so si prime contractor, siya yung nag-oversee sa lahat ng construction process sa site. Okay, so siya yung nagmo-monitor kung tama ba, safe ba, is it within the budget? Baka naman mamaya nag-i-exceed na. So, pag nag-exceed, syempre malulugi ka. And on schedule ba? Kasi syempre meron tayo laging target date of completion. Alright? And ito, sabi, exceeds the quality requirements of the plans and specifications. So, sana maging goal natin lagi yan. So, yung quality is laging maganda. Okay? Kasi there are some who parang ko-compromise yung quality, okay, ng project para makatipid. Halimbawa, medyo medyo hindi na pansin, sobra na pala sa intended budget. So, baka magtipid dun sa iba. Pero sana dun sa pagtitipid na yun, hindi what do you call that? Ma-compromise yung quality ng project. So, dapat lagi pa rin susunod sa codes and specifications. Alright. Next, we have the subcontractors. So, they are specialty contractors who contract with the prime contractor to conduct a specific portion of the project within the overall project schedule. So, let's say, ikaw yung prime contractor and then kukuha ka ng subcontractor mo. Pwede kang, halimbawa, hindi mo masyadong specialty yung sa electrical side, 'di ba? So kukuha ka ng subcontractor mo para gawin yung electrical works ng project mo. Alright? So, halimbawa, kukuha ka ng subcon mo na para sa formworks. Okay? Kukuha ka ng subcon mo para sa, let's say, sa concreting works. Ganon. So, pwede kang kumuha ng subcon for specific areas that you want. Okay? Kung ayaw mong ikaw mismo yung maghanap ng tao, ikaw mismo yung parang gumawa. Ganyan. So, dito, pag kukuha ka ng subcontractor, parang i-delegate mo yung task sa kanila. Alright? Next, we have suppliers. So, suppliers are the vendors who contract to supply required materials for the project within the project specifications and schedule. So, ayan. Suppliers. So, kumbaga, mga pagkukuhanan mo ng materyales, no? Mga nagtitinda ng semento, ng bakal, ng graba, diba? So, those are let's say, yero or paint, pang finishing, whatever. Okay? So, those are some examples of suppliers. So there, those are the main participants sa ating construction. Next, we have the goals of project management. So, unang-una, cost. So, the goal is to complete the project within the cost budget, including the budgeted costs of all change orders. So, ayan. Cost, malaking factor ito. Kasi, syempre, ito yung basis natin kung kikita ba yung project or hindi. Kasi kapag lumampas ka dun sa budget mo, then, of course, palugi yung, parang paliit ng paliit yung nagiging profit mo. Kasi nga, lumalampas ka dun sa estimated cost mo. Okay, so, you have to make sure that the cost is within the budget. And kung magkaroon man ng changes, let's say minor changes, pasok pa rin sa budget cost mo. Okay, sa cost budget mo. Alright, so that's number 1. Number 2 is time. Complete the project by the scheduled completion date or within the allowance for work days. So, syempre, meron tayong due date. Okay. Sa construction, nandyan din si due date. Due date. Alright, so, kasi kapag hindi mo na i-deliver, hindi mo na tapos yung project on time or ahead of time, may penalty every day. Ayun, so malaki yon. Malaki yon. So, dapat gawa agad. Gawa agad. So, tapusin ang project on time or kung pwede pa nga, ahead of time. Number 3 is quality. So, you perform all work on the project, meeting or exceeding the project plans and specifications. So, quality, ikaw, you do what is expected of you. No? And then, kung pwede pa nga, you go the extra mile. No? So, that's what's being said here. Next, we have safety. Complete the project with 0 lost time accidents. So, sa site kasi, pwedeng, well, kahit saan naman, di ba, pwedeng magkaroon ng accident. Pero sa site, so, lagi yan top concern, safety of the people working on the site. So, kasi syempre kapag may nadisgrasya dyan, madidelay yung project. So, kawawa na nga si taong nadisgrasya, na-delay pa yung project. Alright? So, in order for you to have a win-win situation, dapat laging safe yung activities mo sa site. You make sure that everything runs smoothly and everybody is safe. Okay? Para happy yung mga tao, so walang malungkot na pamilya, and ikaw, happy ka din kasi hindi na-delay yung project mo. Alright? So, it's a win-win situation. Next, we have conflict. Resolve disputes at the lowest practical level and have zero disputes. So, as much as possible, ayaw natin ng may conflict. Ayaw natin ng, halimbawa, may magre-reklamo. Alright? So, kung ano yung napagkasunduan nyo ni owner, then yun yung gagawin. Alright? Kung nagkakaroon man ng, let's say, nag-start man ng maliit na conflict, then ayusin agad. Alright? Huwag hayaang lumaki. Kumaga, huwag mong hayaang lumaki yung problema. So, there. Ayaw nating yung maliit na conflict ay umakyat na magkademandahan na kayo ni owner. O, ayaw natin ng ganun. So, as much as possible, walang conflict. Have that mutual good relationship with your clients. And then project startup, successfully start up the completed project. So, by the owner with zero rework. So, pag naibigay mo na yung project mo kay owner, ayaw naman natin na babalik si owner kasi sabihin sa'yo na, nasira agad yung ganito, yung ganyan. So, syempre, ano pa rin yun? Responsibility mo pa rin yun. Okay, so ayaw naman natin na ganun. So, dapat, so babalik tayo sa quality. So, dapat okay yung quality mo. Quality ng project mo. Alright. Next, we have basic functions of construction engineering. Number 1 is cost engineering. So, the cost estimating, cost accounting, and cost control activities related to a project, plus the development of cost databases. So, dito, cost engineering, meron tayong tinatawag na quantity surveyors. So, yung quantity surveyors, sila yung taga-kwenta. Sila yung taga-interpret ng plans. So, kukumputin nila lahat ng gagastusin for the project. Alright, so there, cost engineering. Project planning and scheduling. The development of initial project plans and schedules, project monitoring and updating, and the development of as-built project schedules. So, yan, planning and scheduling. Importante din to kasi syempre, diba, kung magko-construct ka ng, let's say, residential, so bahay, syempre, ipaplano mo yung everyday activities mo. I-schedule mo yung everyday activities and dapat na accomplishment ng mga tao mo. Let's say, for day 1, for week 1, for week 2. No? Next, we have equipment planning and management. The selection of needed equipment for projects, productivity planning to accomplish the project with the selected equipment in the required project schedule and estimate, and the management of the equipment fleet. Kasi kapag malalaki na yung project mo, let's say, buildings na skyscrapers, roads, or dams. So, hindi na yan kaya ng basta tao-tao lang. gagamit ka na talaga ng malalaking equipment. So, yung mga equipment na yan, sobrang mamahal. Others, yung mga nagsisimula pa lang, they rent. No? So, if you will rent an equipment, mahal din siya, kaya dapat i-schedule mo ng tama. Kasi, kapag ni-rent mo siya, let's say for day 10, tapos dumating yung day 10 na hindi pa rin tapos yung activities mo na, kumbaga, requirement para gamitin mo si equipment na ni-rent mo, diba? Then, masasayang yung renta mo sa equipment kasi hindi mo siya magagamit kasi nga hindi pa tapos yung supposedly natapos ng activities kasi na-delay ka. So, dapat may proper scheduling ka. Okay, dapat talaga yun. Kailangan talaga yung planning and management. Okay, dapat nakalatag ng ayos yung plano mo for the whole, let's say, project duration. Kasi ma-delay ka dyan ng kaunti, tapos nandyan na yung equipment, talo ka kasi babayaran mo yung equipment na gamit mo man or hindi. Kasi nandyan na siya sa site mo. There. Alright, design of temporary structures. The design of temporary structures required for the construction of the project, such as concrete formwork, scaffolding, shoring, and bracing. Ayan. So, ito, dinedesign din siya. Hindi naman siya basta lang itinatayo. No? Halimbawa, kung 5-story building yan, hindi ka naman basta magpapatong-patong lang dyan ng scaffolding, di ba? Dinidesign din yan. Hindi yan basta iniiwan na lang sa foreman para siya na yung magtayo ng scaffolds dyan. So, no. Dinidesign din yan ng engineer. Bracing, shoring, so concrete formwork, ikaw din yan. Alright. Next, we have contract management. So, the management of the activities of the project to comply with contract provisions and document contract changes and to minimize contract disputes. So, isa ding goal to ng management to abide by the contract. Okay, kasi syempre kailangan sumusunod tayo sa napag-usapan. No? Huwag tayong mag-deviate sa kung ano yung nakasulat sa kontrata. So, yeah. Human resource management, the selection, training, and supervision of the personnel needed to complete the project work within schedule. So, HR, may HR din kasi kung malaki ang project, you would need a lot of people. Yan. So, kailangan ang goal mo din is to have a harmonious relationship with all your people. No? Kasi, syempre, kapag happy yung tao mo, most likely, maganda yung magiging trabaho niya kaysa yung nire-resent niya kung bakit nandun siya sa site. Ganyan. Kung bakit ba ako nandito. So, kapag ganun yung attitude ng tao mo, then, well, baka hindi maganda yung maging output niya. So, ayan, you have to train your personnel, you have to train your people para malaman nila kung ano yung right way of doing things. Project safety, the establishment of safe working practices and conditions of the project, the communication of these, safety requirements to all project personnel, the maintenance of safety records, and the enforcement of these requirements. Ayan. Project safety, meron tayong tinatawag na mga QA. Okay, so, sila naman yung mga naka-assign sa quality assurance. So, papasok doon yung safety. Alright? Kasi again, gusto natin safe ang ating working environment, safe ang ating working practices. Okay? Ayaw natin ng disgrasya. Yan. Construction estimating. Okay? So, isang possible work description is, again, quantity surveyor kung ikaw ay gusto mong mag-estimate. So, estimating is a complex process involving collection of available and pertinent information relating to the scope of a project, expected resource consumption, and future changes in resource costs. The process involves synthesis of this information through a mental process of visualization of the constructing process of the project. This visualization is mentally translated into an approximation of the final cost. Estimating at any stage of the project cycle involves considerable effort to gather information. The estimator must collect and review all the detailed plans, specifications, available site data, available resource data, contract documents, resource cost information, pertinent government regulations, and applicable owner requirements. Information gathering is a continual process by estimators due to the uniqueness of each project and constant changes in the industry environment. Alright, so kapag ikaw ay mag-estimate, kailangan lagi kang updated sa mga bagay-bagay kasi di ba laging nagfa-fluctuate ang presyo? Yun yung main concern mo yung presyo. So, lahat ng bagay, lalagyan mo yan ng presyo. Lahat ng nakasulat sa specifications ng plano, dapat babasahin mo yan kasi baka mamaya may nakasulat dyan na mag-incur ng cost tapos hindi mo nabasa, hindi mo na isama sa pag-estimate mo. Di, bawas yun sa profit. Diba? Kasi na-overlook So, ayan. You have to continuously gather data. Collect data. So, from various sources. No? So, ayan, dapat masipag mag-gather ng data kasi data is very important for you as an estimator. Ayan. So we have capabilities and qualifications of an estimator. Number 1, extensive knowledge of construction. Next, we have knowledge of construction materials and methods. Alright, this extensive knowledge of construction, dapat alam mo yung, kumbaga, process, sa construction. Halimbawa, maglalatag tayo na gagawin natin yung foundation. So, dapat alam mo yung process kung paano gawin yung foundation. Una, di ba, mag-excavate ka. So, excavation, may cost yan. Tapos, laying ng rebars, may cost din yan. Tapos, kung lalagyan ba ng formworks yung perimeter ng foundation, so, may cost din yung formworks. Alright, so yung ganung tipo ng knowledge na alam mo yung parang steps na gagawin sa construction site kasi malay mo, kada step may presyo. So that's what you're looking at. Number 2 is knowledge of construction materials and methods. So, yeah. Yung na-mention ko kanina, knowledge of construction practices and contracts. So, ayan. Ability to read and write construction documents. Kasi, yun na nga, sa plano, may mga maliliit na words dyan, na specifications lang, ganyan. Tapos, baka hindi mo ma-interpret ng ayos. So, dapat, gets natin yung mga nakasulat sa specifications and yung description na nilagay ng designer sa drawing. Right? ability to sketch construction details, ability to communicate graphically and verbally. So, halimbawa, ipapresent mo yung yung na-estimate mong cost. Tapos, imo-monitor niyo yung cost, ganyan. So, you present it through graphs and syempre explain. Strong background in business and economics kasi you will constantly work with sa mga price, no? Cost. So, ayan, ability to visualize work items. So, parang dapat na-imagine mo na kung ano yung mga kailangan before pa kailanganin. Yan. Broad background in design and code requirements. So, familiar ka dapat sa code and other design requirements. Alright, types of estimates. Number 1, we have conceptual or approximate estimates. So, yung conceptual estimate, ginagawa lang to kapag, halimbawa, nagkita kayo ni friend, tapos si friend, syempre, alam niyang engineer ka, diba? Tatanungin niya, magkano yung paggawa ng, halimbawa, 2-story na bahay, tapos, let's say, 100 square meters or 50 square meters. So, ikaw, magbibigay ka ng conceptual or approximate na estimate. Let's say, sabihin mo, kung, kunwari sabihin mo, I think nasa 2,000 or 3,000 per square meter. Ganon. Tapos, multiply na lang sa number of square meters na gusto niya. So, that is an example of conceptual estimate. Alright? So, there. So guys, hindi tayo dapat mag-stop sa conceptual estimate kasi that's very rough. No? Kumbaga yan yung mabilisang kailangan lang ng agad-agarang sagot. Okay? So, pero hindi ka lalo na kapag malakihan yung project, hindi ka pwedeng basta lang bigay ng figure sa client mo based dito. You have to do detailed estimates. So, dito, sa detailed estimates, dyan na papasok yung magbibilang ka ng actual number of materials that you will need for the construction of the project. Dyan na papasok yung lahat ng considerations, lahat ng magiging cost ng project. So, ito yung kailangan talaga natin. Detailed estimates. Alright? So, there. The estimating process. Number one is familiarization with project characteristics. The estimator must be familiar with the project and evaluate the project from 3 primary avenues: scope, constructability, and risk. Having evaluated these 3 areas in a general way, the estimator will decide whether the effort to estimate and bid the work has a potential profit or other corporate goal potential. In many cases, investigation of these 3 areas may lead to the conclusion that the project is not right for the contractor. The contractor must be convinced that the firm's competitive advantage will provide the needed margin to secure the work away from competitors. So dito, i-assess mo pa lang kung kaya ba, kung tutubo ba kayo dun sa project, no? Kung yung requirements ba ng project ay kaya nyong tapatan, no, bilang, let's say, construction or design and build firm. Alright? So, ikaw bilang nasa sa pag-estimate, so, kailangan ma-oversee mo kung ano ba talaga. Kung kaya ba namin itong gawin, ma-deliver ba namin on time, ano ba yung risk nito, okay? So, kaya ba namin talaga itong i-construct? Is the scope of the project within the scope of work na kaya namin gawin? So, yung mga ganong tanong. Examine the project design. Another aspect of the information important to the individual preparing the estimate is the specific design information that has been prepared. The estimator must be able to read, interpret, and understand the technical specifications, the reference standards, and any project drawings and documents. The estimator must closely examine material specifications so that appropriate price for the quality and characteristics specified can be obtained. So again, as an estimator, kailangan marunong kang magbasa ng plano. Marunong kang mag-interpret ng data. Lalagyan mo ng presyo. Lahat ng activity dapat marunong kang maglagay ng presyo, ng tamang presyo. Right? Structuring the estimate. So the estimator either reviews a plan or develops plan for completing the project. This plan must be visualized during the estimating process. It provides the logical flow of the project from raw materials to a completed facility. Together with the technical specifications, the plan provides a structure for the preparation of the detailed estimate. Most estimators develop the estimate around the structure of the technical specifications. This increases the likelihood that items of work are covered without duplication in the estimate. Okay, so structuring the estimate, gumagawa ka na mismo ng iyong estimate. Kumbaga, nililista mo na lahat. Okay, so dito, makikita mo kung ano ba yung magiging flow ng project mo. So, habang nag-progress yung project, nakikita mo din kung ano yung magiging cost that comes along. Okay, so dito, makikita mo na, ay, parang na-double ko yata to ah. So, yun, parang dun mo ma-review yung ginawa mong cost analysis or estimate. So, yeah. Determining the elements of cost. This step involves the development of the quantities of work to be performed and their translation into expected costs. So, ayan. Lalagyan mo na daw ng presyo. Tatawag ka na sa maraming supplier ngayon. Hello, ma'am, magkano po ang semento sa inyo? Tawag ka naman sa isa pang supplier. Hello, ma'am, magkano po ang semento sa inyo? Magkano po ang bakal? Magkano po ang graba? Magkano po ang buhangin? So, ayan. Kailangan mo na ng maghanap ng pinakamurang pagkukunan ng material. So, ayan. Mag-estimate ka na talaga. Alright, let's have this as an example. For use as structural fill, 15,000 cubic yards of material must be hauled onto a job site. As the material is excavated, it is expected to swell. The swell factor is 0.85. The material will be hauled by 4 12 cubic yard capacity trucks. The truck will be loaded by a 1.5 cubic yard excavator. Each cycle of the excavator will take about 30 seconds. The hauling time will be 9 minutes, the dumping time 2 minutes, the return time 7 minutes, and the spotting time 1 minute. The whole operation can be expected to operate 50 minutes out of every hour. The cost of the trucks is $66 per hour, and the excavator will cost about $75 an hour. What is the cost per cubic yard for this operation? So, mag-estimate ka ngayon. Magkano daw ang cost per cubic yard? So, first, alright, so, dito, sinasabi na kapag nag-excavate ka, yung may excavate mong volume is a-applyan natin ng swell factor na 0.85. So, sabi dito, kung ang excavator capacity mo ay 1.5 cubic yard, apply mo ngayon yung factor na sinabi. No? So, yung actual excavator capacity is 1.28 cubic yards lang per cycle. And then, apply the same thing sa hauler and sa number of, sa hauler mo. So, yung hauler capacity is 12, but taking into account the swell factor, you're left with 10.2 cubic yards per cycle. So, with that, yung number of loading cycles natin, i-divide natin yung ating hauler capacity with the excavator capacity. So, ngayon, malalaman natin na yung truck, yung hauler truck, para mapuno, kailangan ng 8 cycles ng excavator. 8 na pabalik-balik. Okay? So, ngayon, bilangin naman natin yung truck cycle time. So, sabi, di ba, 8 cycles yung kailangan. So, as what has been mentioned before, 0.5, nasa na ba yun? Ito. So, each cycle of the excavator is 30 seconds. So, that's what we have here, 0.5 minute. So, 8 cycles. So, para mapuno yung isang truck, kailangan mo ng 4 minutes. Alright? And then, yung taking into consideration the other details that we have here, alright? You'd be hauling for 9 minutes. You'd be dumping yung laman ng haul truck mo for 2 minutes. And then, babalik yung truck sa site. 7 minutes. And then, you have a spotting time of 1 minute. So, total mo yan, that's 23 minutes. Okay. Alright. Now, let's consider the fleet production, yung production ng lahat ng truck. Sabi dito, merong 4 12 cubic yard capacity trucks. So, you have here 4 trucks times 50. Saan galing yung 50? Sabi dito, the whole operation can be expected to operate 50 minutes out of every hour. So, for every hour, mag-ooperate tayo for 50 minutes. So, 50 minutes yung max operation. Tas dito, yung hauling time is 23 minutes. So, you divide 50 with 23. So, makakapag-haul ka ng this amount for every 1 hour. Tapos, imumultiply mo yung 10.2. Ano ba yung 10.2? 10.2 is the hauler capacity. Okay? Itong ano mo. Itong hauler truck mo. Alright. So, yung production mo ng apat na trucks, is 89.75 cubic yards per hour. Okay? Ang kailangan ay 15,000 cubic yards of material. So, in order to get the number of hours that you need, okay, number of hours that you need for the whole operation, so you divide 15,000 with the capacity, with the, production capacity of your fleet. So you're left with 168 hours. So, ngayon, punta ka naman sa cost. Yung 168 hours mo, you multiply that with 66. Kasi, sabi dito, 66 per hour yung cost ng truck. You have 4 trucks. So, there. And then, 168 hours times 75. 75, yun yung rate ng excavator. Alright, so that's times 75. So, total mo yan, you have $56,952. Alright, so yung total amount, divide mo yan dun sa required volume na kailangan mo. Kasi ang tinatanong is per cubic yard. No? Kaya, yung 56,952 divided with 15,000, meron kang $3.80 per cubic yard. So, ito yung sagot sa ating tanong na what is the cost per cubic yard for this operation? So, it is $3.28 per cubic yard. Alright. Okay, next, construction planning and scheduling. Okay, so one of the most important responsibilities of construction project management is the planning and scheduling of construction projects. The key to successful profit making in any construction company is to have successful projects. Therefore, for many years, efforts have been made to plan, direct, and control the numerous project activities to obtain optimum project performance. Because every construction project is a unique undertaking, project managers must plan and schedule their work utilizing their experience with similar projects and applying their judgment to the particular conditions of the current project. So again, it is very important to plan and to schedule the activities sa iyong project. Ang ma-delay ay hindi maganda sa project mo. Okay? Pag na-delay ka, ibig sabihin, bawas yun sa profit. So, we don't want that. So, we have here techniques in planning and scheduling. Number 1 is PERT. So, ano yung ibig sabihin ng PERT? It's Program or Project Evaluation and Review Technique, whereby planning, scheduling, organizing, coordinating, and controlling are involved to make sure that the projects are done within due time. The emphasis of this technique is focused on start and completion of events, rather than on activities. The activities taking place between events are not specified. PERT is an important technique in the sense that it helps in identifying critical areas which might undermine faster completion of the work, and more importantly, it provides a framework to determine how resources can be transferred from one job to another. Alright, so guys, itong planning and scheduling na to, itong PERT, at saka itong CPM, i-discuss nyo to in detail sa inyong construction management subject. Okay, so dito parang pahapyaw lang. Alright, some kind of introduction lang. Okay, we'll not go into detail dito. Okay, next we have critical path method, or what is commonly known as CPM. So this identifies the sequence of crucial and interdependent steps that compromise a work plan from start to finish. It also identifies non-critical tasks. The concept of critical path method recognizes that completion of some tasks in a project is dependent on the completion of other tasks. Some activities cannot start until others are finished. A good critical path schedule can help to identify the activities that must be completed on time in order to complete the whole project on time. Also, it can tell the earliest and latest dates each activity can start in order to maintain the schedule and, more importantly, show the tasks that can be delayed and for how long without impacting the overall project schedule. So guys, dito sa PERT, concerned siya sa start date and sa end date, sa finish date. Wala siyang masyadong concern sa activities taking place in between the start and the end dates. Basta ang importante yung start and yung end dates. Dapat matapos in due time. Okay? Within the specified time. So, dito sa PERT, ma-identify niya, tutulungan kanyang i-identify yung critical part kung saan pwedeng ma-delay yung project mo. Dito naman sa critical path method, so ang concern naman nito is yung mga activities. No? Kasi dito makikita mo kung ano yung activities na kailangan matapos before simulan yung next activity. Kasi we have certain activities na hindi pwedeng magsimula hanggat hindi natatapos yung activity before them. Kumbaga, they are dependent dun sa activities before them. For example, pagbubuhos sa column. Diba yung pagbubuhos sa column, hindi mo naman pwedeng gawin yan kung wala ka pang foundation eh. Alright, so things like that. Dito sa critical path method, ipapakita sa'yo kung ano yung critical path, meaning yung sequence of events na kung saan pinaka matagal matatapos yung project mo. Dito din sa CPM, makikita mo kung ano yung sequence of events na pinaka mabilis naman na magpapatapos sa project mo. Alright, so ang tinatawag na critical path dyan, critical path schedule is yung longest time, no, for you to be able to finish the event. For you to be able to finish the project. So dito, sabi, kasi guys, yung PERT at saka yung CPM, magkahiwalay silang naimbento. Hindi sila magkasama. Kumbaga, hindi sila magkakilala. So, PERT and CPM were independently developed in the late 1950s. Ever since, they have been among the most widely used OR techniques, or operations research techniques. The original versions of PERT and CPM had some important differences. However, they also had a great deal in common, and the two techniques have gradually merged further over the years. Consequently, practitioners now commonly use the two names interchangeably or combine them into the single acronym PERT-CPM. Okay, so parang parang tao lang, 'di ba? Ikaw meron kang strengths and weaknesses, tapos yung isa ganun din. Tapos nakita niya na, oh, we complement each other, ganyan. So you you work together or ayan, 'di ba? O yung jowa mo. So siguro naman you complement each other. Parang ganon. Parang ikaw si PERT, si jowa mo si CPM. Ganon. So yung PERT CPM, so that's being used in the construction industry. Okay. Well, hindi lang sa construction industry, it is applicable to a lot of other management activities. Alright, so what are the basic steps in network techniques PERT CPM? Number one is to identify the specific activities to be scheduled. Number 2, determine the specific sequence of the above activities. Number 3, construct the network diagram. Number 4, estimate the time required for each activity. Number 5, determine the critical path. Number 6, update the network diagram and the critical path along with the progress of the activities. So guys, this is an example of a PERT CPM diagram. Okay, so this is the start and this is the finish. And yung mga nasa gitna, yan yung activities. Okay? Yan, activities lahat yan. And yung numbers na nakikita nyo, yan yung time required to finish the particular activity above it. So dito, from point 1 to point 2, you have camp design. Yung camp design will last for 3 weeks. Kasi sabi dito, working time in weeks. Alright, so magde-design daw for 3 weeks and then after the design process, pwede nang mag-proceed sa pavement and sa procurement of materials. So, pwedeng sabay na nangyayari yung pavement and yung procurement of materials. Habang ginagawa si pavement, nag-gather ka na ng materials mo. So, both of them will last for 1 week. Both activities will last for 1 week. Ito, si foundation, itong activity na foundation, hindi daw siya pwedeng simulan hanggat wala si pavement. Hanggat hindi tapos yung pavement activity. Okay? So, yan. Si foundation is dependent kay pavement. Pero si foundation ay independent kay materials procurement. Okay? So, ito yung na-mention kanina na hindi makaka-start yung next activity kung hindi tapos yung previous activity. And then, kapag tapos na yung materials procurement and tapos na si foundation, saka palang makakapagsimula yung camp construction and infrastructure construction. Wherein camp construction will last for 3 weeks and infrastructure construction will last for 1.5 weeks. Okay? And then, after infrastructure construction, ayan, mag-start na si decorating work. And then, a few finishing touches for the completion and then you're done. Okay, so this is an example of PERT CPM. How to actually construct this one? Guys, ito ay pinakita ko para somehow magkaroon kayo ng idea kay PERT CPM. Okay? It's not our concern to actually make this. Okay? So, ito ay gagawin nyo sa inyong construction management na subject. Okay, this is just for you to be introduced to PERT CPM. You will go in full detail dito sa construction management subject. Alright, so guys, this is the end of this lecture. Okay, continue na lang natin to sa ating part 2 ng lecture 2. Okay, thank you.